So in the 700 plus years of Christianity from 313 with the Edict of Milan, ending persecution of Christians with Constantine, all the way down to this schism in 1054, Christianity is going to evolve from a harshly persecuted sect that's misunderstood and accused of sedition and all kinds of lewd practices, of low-class people and slaves, to now becoming the most influential and centralized cultural force both in the East and the West. Constantine was the turning point, and Christianity successfully spreads across East and West and becomes wildly successful. It had already been so, even during persecution, but it is going to become even more so. But a massive power growth in both of these parts, the East and the West, is going to create a power struggle that creates a kind of a permanent rift. Now, the influence of Christianity is beyond measure in culture, in law, and in language. In the medieval period that we focused on today, Christianity preserved classical culture while reaching out to many of the barbarian groups and bringing them into Christianity and creating more of a cultural synergy. The rapid spread and the tenacity of Islam proved to be one of the most difficult challenges, even down to this moment, and is going to be a major challenge throughout the ages. The losses that are suffered there by both Christians in the East and in the West will create a kind of a serious, tense dynamic that would press these Christians towards separation in 1054. Other causes too contributed to the crisis of authority that ended with schism. And the crisis of authority will abate for just a little while, but then will reemerge in the Reformation. But perhaps no event has had as long-lasting impact as the decision to unify politics with Christianity, to unify the empire with Christianity. For over 1,000 years, the union of state and church created stabilities and had a great deal of synergy. And even if there were disagreements over the exact relationship of church and state, nevertheless it created a great deal of synergy. But East and the West began to differ on this and began to have vastly different views over that relationship. Christianity national interest formed a kind of powerful alloy. And so most could not imagine separating church and state. They thought that, this would lead to some kind of an anarchy. In the West, eventually church and state will begin to separate and create the kind of secular society that we now live in today. And this separation will allow for religious toleration and freedom. And it will also throw Christians back into a cultural situation much like the very early primitive church, where Christians had to live in a pluralistic society with persecution.